Hey Santa, December 26, 2017. To say that I overlooked a few things this Christmas is an understatement. For my son, I had Santa's gifts covered, but somehow I forgot to get a gift that would be from us, his parents. I didn't even think about it until I was driving home after Christmas Eve Mass. Whoops! Fortunately for me, the hub pulled through and saved me. He gave up the Sleep Number pillow that was a gift to him, regifting at its finest. My son had been asking for a new pillow for over a year, so it was a really big hit. Otherwise, my son was getting cold hard cash in an envelope just like I would get as a kid. Thankfully, things happen for a reason. I also forgot to buy Christmas cards for my mom in the hub. Crap! This is what I get for buying cards for my kids early back in November. I had forgotten that I didn't like the cards for mothers and husbands at the dollar store, so I was supposed to shop around since I had plenty of time. Whoops! At 3 p.m. on Christmas Eve, I ran to Walgreens, where the only cards left were the $6.99 plus cards, and there was no way I was buying any of those. Usually for me, desperate times calls for desperate measures, so forking over that much per card wouldn't have even been a question. But for these two people in my life, it was a matter of principle. For one, the hub barely reads cards, regardless of how much they cost, and two, even though my mom would have saved her card for 20 years, she would be mad that I spent that much on a card. Nope. I wasn't going to buy any of those cards. I left Walgreens apprehensive, but I knew if I sat still long enough, something would come up. By midnight on Christmas Eve, I still hadn't figured out the card situation. I started to clean up before bedtime when I came across a pad of paper that the kids used called Hey Santa by Knock Knock. I don't know what came over me, but I decided this would be a great way to express my feelings and solve the card situation. Before I wrote anything on the pad, I thought a lot about the person I was writing to, and I felt this sort of peace knowing that this was what Christmas was all about. Back in the day, it was only about the heartfelt wishes you gave to your family and friends, and not about what gifts you gave to them. At about 1:30 a.m. on Christmas morning, I texted my brother. It might sound weird, even crazy, but sometimes I wished I was going back to St. Martin's Midnight Mass. It was so easy back then. Life was easy. Traditions were easy. Being a parent is a big weight sometimes. This holiday gets lost. I know. The years of being both Santa and a parent are very few. I shouldn't complain. I'm pretty sure every parent with teenage kids is nodding in agreement. But I can't help but think that as Christmas came and went, the prep work for it was so laborious, it felt like the day after a wedding. Days and weeks of details for one day, and then it's over. The tissue paper that seems so important to make gifts look super, can't even be recycled and has to go in the trash, is in piles and is now more like a nuisance. I thought about my thoughtful pinch impromptu cards. It would be great if I could just give a wish list instead of bunches of wrapped gifts. And wish lists wouldn't only have to be for Christmas. There should be wish lists for New Year's, birthdays, get well, weddings, etc. There's an endless amount of occasions that a wish list would be well received. The thoughtfulness of taking the time to think about the person and share your wishes for them is a pinch that doesn't require wrapping or tissue. Did I mention I didn't have to shop for this pinch, not at a store nor online? We gave our cards to each other at the breakfast table. I think the thoughtful pinches impromptu cards were a success. My mom teared up, as my brother predicted, and I got a slight chuckle from the hub. I know I would treasure something like that for years, and it would mean more to me than any Louis Vuitton or Peloton bike. But then again, I shouldn't complain. Pinches!